Okay, let's look at the methodology to design this part. We'll go to a sketch plane and we'll just start drawing the basic outline. Start here, let's come up a ways, let's come over. We're just going to get the basic shape. We're not worried about dimensions at all, not for these methodology videos. And we'll come across. Okay, so this is our basic shape for the exercise. Let's jump out of Sketcher. Let's make a pad. And let's do a mirrored extent because we want the planes right down the middle of the part. Okay, there we go. Now immediately I usually come up here and make my part body blue just so I can see sketches better in the videos. Then we'll go to fillet. Let's do a tritangent fillet. And let's do one on the end back here. We'll say OK. And we'll do one on the front. Keep the top, keep the bottom, and round over the front. Say OK. Okay, so here's our basic shape. You know what I'd like to do is I'd like to give myself a little more wiggle room here, so I'm going to pull that up just a little bit. Okay. Now I'm going to go to Sketcher, and I'm going to sketch on the top surface, and I'm going to sketch a rectangle that comes in about so far. And then I'm going to sketch a elongated hole that comes in somewhere here at the back, and it's not quite as wide. It's not as wide as that. I think it's a little narrower. There you go. And then finally, we're going to do a rectangle that is from the back edge here in, but we're going to make it overly large. And the reason I like it overly large is we're going to need to put some constraints on this to make sure that it's rock solid. For now, though, we're not going to constrain. We're going to jump out of Sketcher, and we're going to make a pocket all the way through up to last. And we'll say OK. So we'll see our part starting to take shape. Now we're going to draw a little triangle up here on the top. We're going to go to Sketcher on that plane. And let's draw our little triangle from here to here, here, and then up. Now we know that this needs to be parallel to that, and I'll leave it to you to go through and do all the dimensions and say parallel. And to put the dimensions in there, that's all up to you. Okay? And now let's get out of Sketcher and let's make a pocket out of this. And let's make it go a dimension, and let's pull it up to just a little depth like that. That's fine. Okay. Now we're going to mirror this down on the other side, but this is also supposed to include some fillets. So we might as well do the fillets now so that we can mirror the fillets also. So we're going to go to the fillet icon, and we're going to select the bottom of the pocket, and we're also going to catch these edges here, 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 and we'll say OK. So now we have all those fillets done. In fact, sometimes I like to make the fillets yellow just so you can see how they look. Okay. Now we're going to pre-select with the control key down the pocket and the fillet, and then we're going to come down and we're going to pick the mirror command. And with the mirror command, because we've drawn this right down the center of these planes, I'm going to pick this as my center plane to mirror. We'll say OK, and we'll see that those are mirrored across. Now, finally, I'm going to go to Sketcher in this middle here, and we'll draw another triangle. And again, you're going to have to make sure that the dimensions are all correct in this, but this is something that looks like here, 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 and I believe this has a few rounded corners in it. Do you want to put them here as corners, or do you want to put them outside as fillets? I kind of prefer fillets, so I'm going to do a pocket and say up to last. Say OK, and now I will put some fillets on in here. So I'll pick that and I'll put a fillet there and one in here and one in here. Say OK, and I'll make those green. Okay, great. Now, to make this look a little more realistic, I'm going to make the depth of this pocket a little deeper. So I'm going to drag it down a little bit. There we go. There we go. Looks more like the example part that we're doing. Okay. Now we need to add some holes in here, and we need to add a little web across here. So I'm going to go ahead and add the holes in first. I'm going to pre-select an edge. I'm going to select my hole icon, touch anywhere on that surface, and it will make a hole that's up to last. And let's increase the diameter just a little bit. There we go, to make it look a little better. We'll say OK. Now pre-select this edge, put another hole here, and say OK. It's already set it up to last. Okay. We need to add a couple of fillets in here, so I'm going to go fillet. And because they're the same radius as these green fillets, I could add them to the green fillet, but you know what? I think it's since they're back here kind of on a different feature of the tree, we're just going to add them in separately as another fillet in the tree, and I'll make those green. Okay. Now we're ready for our last couple of features are right here in the middle. We need a little web coming out. So I'm going to sketch her, and I'm going to sketch on this sketch plane. Rotate it around a little bit. Now what I would like to get is I would like to get this edge and this edge in my sketch plane. I could certainly constrain to those edges, but I kind of like having them in my sketch plane. So I'm going to do a project of construction geometry there, and a project of construction geometry there. Okay. Now what this is going to do is make it a little easier for me now, because I can pick those up. Let's turn construction off, go to my profiler, and now when I select that, I'm actually getting the constraints automatically. So here, let's come up to somewhere like this. We come across, we'll pick this one up, we'll come down, come across, come this way, way to say here, and then we close it off. Now we still have to make this nice and pretty. We have to adjust the dimensions on this, but let's get out of Sketcher now, and let's make that a pad up to a plane, and we will pick this surface, and we'll say OK. Now let's rotate up. Let's go to Sketcher on this sketch plane, and let's do an elongated hole. We'll pick here, we're picking up the axis line, so we're getting part of our constraints automatically. We'll come out and we'll make a pocket. It's already on dimension, so we're going to make sure we go up to next or up to last. That's just the proper way to do it. There we go. Now the very last thing we need to do for our part is we're going to do a mirror of the entire body. So we're going to pick mirror, and by default, if I haven't pre-selected anything, it gets the whole current solid. And I'm going to pick this plane here, which is also the same as this plane here, and say OK, and our part is now done.